And here we go with another video of the day, coming at you with some more teaching as we're moving into week 3 here and trying to figure out how to be adding more plants to our diet. I know some of you guys are not excited about that. Jarek just put something out about is anybody actually even eating vegetables. So I know how a lot of you guys feel about this particular thing. So what I wanted to do is try to come on here and give us some reasons why I think it's a good idea for you to be adding plants to your diet. And this is something we always teach, right? This is part of our New City Fitness principles of health, that we should be getting nutrients from both plants and animal sources. So you should already know this if you're familiar with what we teach. But as we're in the middle of this and we went from eating just meat to then adding some fatty fruits to now eating some vegetables, and we haven't got to what most of you are probably wanting in the form of plants, which is fruits, I wanted to hopefully give us some information on plants that could be helpful for us of getting this in our diet. Because it's much different than kind of conventional wisdom that says, hey, you need certain number of servings of vegetables in your diet to nourish your body well. That's not where I'd be coming from. Even a CrossFit diet that says meat and vegetables is primarily what you should be eating. That's not where we're coming from. But I do think plants and even vegetables are important for a healthy diet. So here's 5 reasons. Try to keep this short as possible. Why I think you should be eating not just fruits, but also all plants. Number 1, first one, God said so, right? In the beginning, he created the trees, he created the plants, and he said you should have them for nourishment, right? These are what's going to nourish your body. That's how it started. It didn't start with meat, started with plants. You should be eating these things to nourish your body. So what does that mean? Well, macronutrients, micronutrients, proteins, fats, carbohydrates can come in the form of plant-based foods, and then all the minerals, magnesium, potassium, sodium, all of these things, iron, all this stuff can come from plant-based foods. Vitamins B and C, vitamins A, D, E, and K, all this stuff comes from plant-based foods. So we can nourish our bodies through plants. Would I recommend that you should only nourish your bodies through plants? Absolutely not. God didn't say that either. He said, Genesis 9, that now you can have everything that moves on the ground. So nourishing our bodies through, of course, the animal products that we're taking in, meat, eggs, fish, dairy products. We've been talking about that for a while now. So yes, do that, but you can also nourish your bodies by adding in some of these plant-based foods. So even if none of this stuff even matters or it's all proved wrong, still eat plants because number 1, God said so. Number 2, nourishing your body. Just went through it, but the macronutrients and micronutrients can come from plant-based foods. And I think there's eating a variety of food just makes things more enjoyable, right? You've probably all experienced that when it was just having burgers, when it was just having pulled pork, when it was just having chicken breast. Hopefully that wasn't what you were doing, but it was just having chicken breast. It got really boring. And God created food for 2 reasons: nourishment, pleasure. Tough to have pleasure when you're just eating meat all the time. So adding some plants in your diet is going to be helpful. So nourishment through plants, but it also is something that makes eating and nourishing your body more pleasurable. Number 3, what are called phytonutrients. This is something that you can't actually get from meat. What do I mean by this? Something called polyphenols, flavonoids, carotenoids. You probably heard of carotenoids before. It's right. It's in carrots. The orange color, good for the eyes, good for the skin, good for oral health. But these are also what are called antioxidants, meaning there's something called oxidative stress that we get exposed to, happens inside of our bodies internally, can damage DNA, can damage organelles, can damage cells, can damage tissues. Well, we have this repair system in the body, antioxidant system, that these antioxidants the body uses to repair a lot of that and kind of gets rid of the oxidative stress, oxidative damage that happens to our tissues. So having plants in your diet, getting these phytonutrients, fills our bodies with antioxidants, kind of have these buckets of antioxidants to be able to fight a lot of that off and deal with a lot of the damage. Now, if we lived in a perfect world and didn't have toxicity in the world, didn't have pollution, didn't have chemicals coming at us all the time, weren't stressed out all the time where we're creating our own stress chemistry, stress chemicals, then we wouldn't need this stuff. But that's not the world we live in. We do live in this industrialized society where all these chemicals are coming at us. So having a good antioxidant rich diet is important. Then there's something called microbiota accessible carbohydrates. So think fiber, prebiotic fiber. You've probably heard of probiotics before. That's the bacteria that's in our gut. There's prebiotics. So pre meaning these are what the probiotics eat in order to be healthy themselves. And then from that, they create what are called postbiotics in the form of what are called short chain fatty acids. So we've talked about Long chain triglycerides, we talked about medium chain triglycerides when we went through the MCT oil. There's also short chain fatty acids, which is all that's talking about is the molecular structure. But these things are important to have a healthy gut lining, to have a healthy gut barrier. Just talked about all the stuff that we're exposed to. The digestive system is your protective barrier against the outside. When you eat something, it's not actually even inside you. It's outside of us until it crosses the gut barrier and gets into our bloodstream and becomes systemic. That's where our nutrients come from, but it's also where toxins can come from. Bacteria, viruses, all that other stuff can, so biotoxins can come from. So how God created us is about 80% of our immune system is around our gut lining because he knows stuff's going to leak out that shouldn't be there. Immune system's there to attack it, deal with it. And if we have a healthy immune system around our gut, then we should be healthy people. But over time, because of our inflammatory diets, our inflammatory lifestyles, our guts get inflamed. We lose that good, healthy barrier. And we also diminish the immune system around our gut. And that's how stuff can get systemic. That's how food allergies and stuff, that's how autoimmune disease, that's just how inflammatory diseases, really any chronic disease out there is due to inflammation. And that inflammation primarily comes from gut damage, from an unhealthy gut. So having plants in your diet can increase the bacteria, the good bacteria that's in your gut, which then increase the short chain fatty acids, keep our gut linings healthy. And then the last one goes right into that microbial diversity. We don't want just one type of bacteria in our gut. We want a diverse types of bacteria in our gut, and we want a microbiome that's diverse, is how it would be described. How do you get that? Well, you have plant diversity in your diet. Different plants that you eat are going to have different types of fibers, which feeds different types of bacteria. And if you feed the bacteria, they're going to be healthy, they're going to thrive, they're going to proliferate, right? They're going to procreate and create more bacteria. So that's how it works. You want a good, healthy microbiome, have to have plant diversity. Some experts say that you should have about 20 different types of plant foods in your diet at any given time. So that's not just vegetables, right? That's all the stuff that we're going to be adding in the weeks to come. But we want a diverse plant diet. We don't want to just say, oh, I like carrots, so that's how I get my vegetables in. Oh, I like cucumbers, that's how I get my vegetables in. Definitely don't want to say, oh, I like kale and broccoli. Those things don't even taste good. So, but they can be part of a diverse plant diet. So eat the meat, nourish your body well, enjoy that part of it, but also be adding in some of this stuff. That's how you're going to have a good, healthy gut. That's how you're going to have a good, healthy diet. And it's going to be a huge part of us moving forward and creating a healthy lifestyle, a healthy diet.